Welcome to the Lodge. You've accessed
the Lodgecast experience.
Warning, warning, dangerous spoilers ahead. Enjoy.
Welcome to a very, very special edition of the Lodgecast. With me as always is Brother Bishki.
What's up, guys?
And Brother Lucas.
Hi there.
With us tonight, we have three guests.
Count them three. One,
three
two, three.
Guru All-Stars. We got Brother Zach.
Hey.
Brother Ben.
Hello, hello, hello.
And Brother Nathan.
What's up? What's up?
You may notice that the sound sounds like dog shit. That is because we are in the food court of the Burbank Media Center Mall, outside of Sbarro.
Yeah, adjacent to Sbarro.
An Italian eatery. Thematically, it is connected to the film we're seeing tonight, which is Gotti.
Got him.
Got him. We are seeing John Travolta in all his splendor tonight. What are people bringing to this? Let's just talk about the man, the Teflon Don John Gotti. What do people know about this guy? How deep does our Cosa Nostra knowledge go?
Anybody know much about Gotti?
He was
more than a couple.
I know what the rappers have told me.
He was essentially like a low-level mob enforcer, like street hood thug, who through sheer tenacity and like iron will of like violence, like murdered his way to the top. Essentially, like ascended the throne, like Godfather style, by like murdering everyone on the same day.
That sounds great.
But I went to school with a kid who was from the East Coast.
I
went to a boarding school with one of Gotti's kids, and he said it was really shady. Like it was a definitely shady family. And they tried to be nice to him, and he was like, "Nah, don't be nice to me, because I don't want to like get mixed up."
I'm too shady for all y'all.
I don't want to love you, because then I gotta kill you.
John Travolta has been trying to make this movie.
Yeah.
At least they say 7 years, but I want to say
this has been on the shelf for 7 years.
No, not on the shelf. In the works.
In the works.
I remember
Gotti.
versions of this cast announced 5 years ago, 6 years ago. I mean, this has to be at least a decade.
But like Travolta always attached.
This is
Gotti.
Travolta.
It's his baby.
Apparently, they wanted him to play God. Like, did Gotti himself want Travolta?
Wow.
I think
Maybe.
It
Let's
was
just
sent
say
on-
yes.
It was sent on down from the Gotti heaven.
From on
That'd be
high.
great. Just, you got to get a photo of see them if they shook hands or.
Well,
met.
it does seem like a labor of love. Whenever Kelly Preston is a package deal with Travolta, then that usually means
A little stardust.
it's
Family
a
affair.
It's a family affair.
It's blessed.
The director, everybody's
he's an
super
actor.
excited. Kevin Connolly from Entourage.
Yeah.
And Reach Me, a Lodge classic. I think Reach Me is currently the second from the bottom rated Lodge
Second
movie.
from the bottom.
He's
So
also
he
part
directed
of
it?
part of DiCaprio's posse, the Pussy.
Kevin
the
Connolly's
P,
one
the
of the
P
Entourage
posse.
guys.
We are
Yeah,
in
he
public.
directed.
Music by
Music supervised by, or partially composed by Pitbull. International.
I thought you were going to say Tangerine
And
Dream
50's
or
in the movie, too,
something
right?
amazing.
We got 50?
there's gonna be some rap for sure.
I
hope so.
saw at the
yeah.
Cannes
Yes.
Film Festival a video
Yes.
of 50 Cent rapping on stage with Travolta dancing next to him.
You can't get more gangster than
No,
that.
and it must be watched.
Yes.
I recommend it in concert with the podcast.
Excellent.
Yeah, supplemental material.
Another item of interest, Brother Ben. You say you have not been to this theater since when?
Oh, yeah.
And for what?
That is correct. The last time I was at the Sad Mall was Halloween 2001 for a screening of Donnie Darko in its original release.
That was a long
That's
time ago.
fantastic.
Welcome back.
That is
Yeah,
legit.
welcome back.
Spoiler alert, some things have changed in that theater, and I say for the extreme
You'll be
better.
pleasantly
Spoiler.
surprised.
This is one of our favorite theaters. We try to give it love
It's the
whenever we
Paul
can.
Dooley Theater.
Yeah.
Yes.
I once saw Zack Snyder's Dawn of the Dead here, and I thought, hey,
Nice.
I saw it in the mall. I felt pretty good about that. But that was before it got this whole facelift.
Yeah, it's got a facelift, and let me just say the
Like-
Salad Dragons have smiled upon us. 95% sure I saw Ava DuVernay, director of Wrinkle in Time, here today.
Today?
I just saw her. I just saw
Gotti?
I don't know.
No way.
She might be.
No way she's coming to Gotti.
She's like sitting in
I'm
front
pretty
of
sure
us.
she's
Gotti.
with her daughter.
But if she's about, that is a huge harbinger, and it shows that we are in the right place at the exact right time.
Indeed.
A couple of us are already eating some Sbarro. The rest of us are gonna down some Italian, some greasy Italian.
It's delish. It's the right way to see this movie. Get primed for it.
We're gonna get Gotti, and we're gonna come
Get
right back
got.
to this food court. Hopefully, it'll be a little more cleared out when we come back, so you'll be able to hear
And may I just say randomly,
very clearly our
somehow
assessment.
Paul Manafort going to jail is like our generation's John Gotti,
Sure.
like going down finally, kind of like the Teflon Don.
Well, the Teflon Don Trump. Anyway, love and light and pizza.
Yeah. Pizza. Gotti.
Pizza.
And we have returned from New York.
Hey, forget about
Forget about it.
Hey, forget about it.
You may realize that we sound like we're not in a food court quite as much anymore
Might
because
be a little quieter.
we are now in the Prius.
The Lodge Casting Prius. Cozy, warm confines of the pod Prius.
Some events transpired, and two of us got whacked.
We got some blood on our hands on this one. It got messy. Got some egg on our face.
I feel like doing some things right now.
We, because it was a very small theater, the lodge master, yours truly, had purchased tickets on Fandango to do the Fandango Shuffle, which, for those of you not in the know, you buy the tickets on Fandango, in essence reserving seats, then you pull up with your movie pass, hit the refund, slip in, slip out.
Bada boom, bada bing. It's a wonderful thing. It works.
Boom.
It works.
And
It worked for Hereditary. Boom.
So, like good soldiers, Brother Nathan and Brother Ben, for the good of the family,
Stepped on some landmines for us. Fell on the grenade for us.
There's this couple that they wanted to go to Gotti so bad they had to get the tickets right before us, even while we were saying, "Don't buy those, you fucking."
They got one. They got two. They got a three.
We should
They
have
got a
held.
four.
We held back 5 minutes. They would have been sold out. They would have had to go to see Tag, which the girl would have appreciated a lot more. I'm sure.
we got fucked. So, Brother Zach, we're happy that you're still with us.
I wrote it out.
You're a made man.
Yo, made man.
The proudest day of my life.
Hey, forget about it.
And to add insult to grievous injury, the fellow that muscled his way into our two seats where fallen comrades should have been, he took his fucking shoes off.
Oh,
He was-
wow.
I was like,
see that.
motherfucker. Oh.
Maroon.
He had no neck.
He was spreading his toes around. Oh my god.
Hey, forget about it.
When I saw those bare feet, I was.
Anyway, Brother Ben and Brother Nathan, your sacrifices will be forever remembered.
Thank you, guys. That was
and
hard.
repaid.
I couldn't even say goodbye. I had to turn my back.
We
It was
love
too
you.
painful.
We love you.
Yeah.
We love you.
I was guilt.
But anyway,
Put him on a shelf.
put him on a shelf. We saw a movie called Gotti.
We got
tonight.
got.
We got Gotti.
We got by Gotti.
Where to even begin with this? I have to say, I feel like a douchebag for having even watched that movie. I just feel like a douchebag. Right
It was
now.
a weird, ugly crowd
I don't
all
have,
around.
I don't have any product in my hair, but my hair feels crispy right now. I feel like a spray tanned douchebag. That said, I think the crowd was very interesting. You had some people that were there for the laughs. You had some ironic hipster action, but you also had some very sincere, I don't know, just
Travolta lovers.
Travolta
Old-
lovers.
There were some Gotti lovers.
Some old
there,
Gotti
too.
heads,
some Gotti
were there.
lovers.
Yeah.
Some gangster types that wanted to pay respect to the man.
Yeah,
It was
there was a guy in a wheelchair who looked like he might have been ex-gangster in the back.
It was
Seemed pretty happy to be there.
It was a wild
Crowd of 20.
pasta fagioli of ingredients or whatever. But we had our Sbarro in us. We could hang with them. And the movie begins with John Travolta in his full Gotti regalia standing by the Brooklyn Bridge.
Oh, it sets the tone, man. This is the metronome that the movie plays by.
Directly to camera.
Does an about face, so his back is to the camera.
Oh, I didn't see that.
And without any timing at all, without any editing, he just spins around and is like, "Oh, I didn't see you there. Hey, I'm gonna take you on this adventure.
Couple jamokes.
You're gonna go on this ride with me. Check it out. Buckle up. Here we go." Fourth wall, Ferris Bueller breaking style.
Fourth
is how
wall,
they're setting the tone.
broken.
Like already, the first shot, it's like, damn, they're already going here. And what's confusing is instead of showing like clips of who Gotti is and then going into Travolta, it opens with Travolta and then goes into clips of Gotti.
The real
guy.
guy.
Yeah, and you're confused. You're like, wait a second, this doesn't look like Travolta.
Right, they don't save that for the end. They introduce us, then they break it.
And they go back to the found footage throughout of Gotti, the actual Gotti.
But no, but when they go back to the found footage of Gotti, it intersplices between the actual newscasters, but then into John Travolta taking Gotti's place.
There are no rules.
I need to say something.
It breaks all the rules.
From the outset, as an editor by trade. This is the worst edited movie that I have ever seen.
There are scenes that I think they forgot about where they're like, oh shit, that was in the final timeline.
The movie is as if you shoot a movie in a linear fashion. You tell,
Cradle to Grave biopic.
Standard Cradle to Grave gangster
point
biopic.
A to point Z.
Then
you put it in a blender.
You find out where the scenes begin and end, so you have little chunks. Then you just roll them around in your hands and throw them up in the air like confetti, and wherever they land, that's the movie, and then you put it out at Cannes.
There's literally one scene where a guy is like getting arrested, and then they take a picture, and the paper, he's got like a jacket over his face, and then the next scene is John Travolta's John Gotti pulling up to like a meet, like a late night, like clandestine, like rooftop meet, and he's like, let me ask you something. You a pedophile? No. Do you fuck children? He's like, no. He's like, then why the fuck are you covering up your face because of me? If you cover up your face again, I'll cover it up permanently. Don't you ever fucking do it again. He throws the paper at him, gets in his car. The scene is without context.
It's just a bullet point.
It has nothing to do with anything.
It's
as if Kevin Connolly was like leaving like the real Gotti's house, and the widow was like, you gotta have this scene in it for my husband's sake. Like, this was the story he always told, and it was like, all right, we'll show it to you, Mrs. Gotti.
It's all over the place.
It's like they introduce so many dudes that are like, I don't even know all the names.
And they throw
names on the bottom,
and they throw titles up, Burns. But it's meaningless. It's like meaningless.
Is this guy? Is this Jamoke? Is this guy?
It is like temp graphic shitty lower thirds that
without any context.
And the worst dinner theater acting squad you've ever seen. You think in New York City, they've got Italians coming up the wazoo, and Kevin Connolly gave all the parts to people who I guess financed the movie. That's the only thing I could think of.
Let's ground this a little bit. Just for ceremonial purposes, what's the Gotti synopsis?
Gotti synopsis from Rotten Tomatoes. Gotti follows an infamous crime boss, John Gotti, played by John Travolta, rises to become the Teflon Don of the Gambino crime family in New York, spanning 3 decades and recounted by his son, John Jr.
Chicago or New York?
I don't know.
Make it Chicago.
Spencer Rocco LaFranco, that's who plays John Jr. Gotti examines Gotti's tumultuous life as he and his wife, Kelly Preston, attempt to hold the family together amongst tragedy and multiple prison sentences.
Wait, was Kelly Preston Travolta's wife in the movie?
Yes.
Oh my
what?
God.
Where
else
were
could
you?
she have been?
Dude, I don't know. I spaced.
Okay. So that's the synopsis. It's a Wikipedia movie. It's Wikipedia Gotti entry the movie.
Yeah, like if you were reading it out of order, if you were just bouncing around.
I mean, there is a slight structure where the son is in the prison, and he's gonna.
Let's keep coming back to that.
Yeah. But they come back to it once every 45 minutes.
Too much. I feel like
initially they came back to it every 10 minutes, and then they lost.
If you were a good director, you would know that scene where his son goes to see him one last time. We should have saved all of that for the very end. You didn't need to chop it up.
But as it is, we go from Travolta in front of the bridge to Travolta cancer-riddled, deformed,
just scary.
He says
it's really scary.
He says movie makeup.
He says because I guess he had jaw cancer. Travolta said, "They put my tit on my jaw," which I thought
the salad dragons.
No, we'll get to that. But so that takes place. I don't know if they name the year, but then we just smash back to the 70s,
Right.
and then from there we're just ping-ponging around.
We don't get who is Gotti before he makes his first hit.
We don't know anything.
Who the hell is this
We don't
guy?
know
How would he get
anything.
into the life?
We just
Why?
know he's the
Yeah.
man.
He's just the guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Because Connolly doesn't even have a take on
No.
what any of this is about.
What-
It's just this happened, this happened,
what
this
I
happened.
what I feel like this movie is okay. You got an old uncle from New York who loves The Godfather, loves Goodfellas, loves John Gotti, and remembers it from back in the day, and he's just at a barbecue, a couple drinks in, rambling to you about some nonsense, out of order. Some of it's not really true. And he's just chewing your ear off. But he knows some of the words, but he doesn't know any of the music. That's what this fucking is.
Yeah.
It is.
Speaking of, yeah.
It is just a mashup of just trying to ape different like elements of gangster movies. Like The Godfather, you got the Michael Corleone hit in the Italian restaurant is now this hit in front of this steakhouse. You got
Mean Streets, the big fight in Mean Streets.
Yep,
and they're
in the
all
bar.
In the bar.
You got helicopters viewed through trees.
Goodfellas.
Which is
Goodfellas.
Goodfellas.
While pasta sauce is being
You got pasta
warming
sauce
on the oven.
You got pasta sauce intercut with a tragic accident.
Oh right. Oh man, can we talk
It's
about
all
that
fucked
accident
up.
for a
Okay,
second,
so
please?
let's clear the air on overall first impressions. Like, did you have any hope? Did anybody have any hope?
I knew it was going to go south.
I had hope maybe from like that opening establishing the city. I was like, oh, it's a pretty Twilight. Looks digi.
I didn't like the font.
It looks digi.
Yeah.
I was in trouble with the font.
Yeah, but I was like, let me just, and then boom! As soon as Travolta turned around, I knew all bets were off. It was done.
Here was my hope. I mean, I knew we were going into a 0% Rotten Tomato movie.
Yeah.
I knew.
That's the thing we were trying to keep.
Yeah.
We were trying to keep under wraps.
I
but
couldn't
it became,
avoid it.
It became headline news.
It became news.
It-
and
22
I-
reviews are in.
I
all
saw
zero. Yeah.
New York Post. This is the worst mobster movie of all time. And by the way, they're correct. Maybe there's some dog shit movie we've never heard of, but high profile mafia
on this
movie.
Scale, on
Yeah.
this
This is
scale.
about as lifeless as it gets.
Yeah.
But this is what I had hoped for in the early going. I just had hope that we would get some kookiness.
Sure.
Oh yeah, like
some-
Port of Call, New Orleans with Nicolas Cage.
Correct.
Yeah.
I
When
see
he
what-
breaks the fourth
Unintentional
wall.
port of call.
Right.
Let's make that clear. Unintentional port of call.
Yes.
Yeah.
I wish he was breaking the fourth wall like after he
Always.
shoots somebody in the head. Like, yeah, I didn't do it. You know what
In
I
the
mean?
middle
Like,
of the scenes.
And by
Gabagool,
the way, cold water gets blood out of shirts better than hot. So don't use hot, okay? You burn yourself.
Instead, the closest we get to levity is him talking, I wouldn't fuck her with your dick.
Yeah.
And the people around us, there's a few people going, hey,
That's funny. Yeah,
that's
there's
some really
there's
funny
the
jokes.
The plebes that
Like,
actually fell for it. It's like,
I have to say that Travolta has had so many beloved roles, and people have had fun with him so much for so many years that he does coast on his charm. Like,
Yeah.
he is by far, to me, the best thing in the movie.
Yeah.
Like,
For sure.
He,
For sure.
He's
Oh, yeah.
still got it.
Yeah.
He's just got taste for shit. Like whenever Travolta is the driving force behind a project, it's bad.
Yeah.
his brain is mush for sure. It's Swiss
But he's
cheese.
got charm to burn. And it sucks when he does something or he says something with a certain smile and people just kind of reflexively in the audience, they're like, that's a ghost of a former Travolta role haunting their body and forcing out a dry chuckle.
Right. There's a little Vincent Vega creeping in every
that's
once
what
in a while.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little Chili Palmer from Get Shorty.
Right,
except
right,
with
right.
more toupee.
Yeah.
So we're not going to attempt to recall the
Chronology.
No, but let's
I
talk
knew
about the
it-
accident.
The
I knew it
finer
was bad. I
points.
knew it was bad, but the movie starts taking a U-turn into good bad right when his son gets.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that
Let's talk about his son getting.
Every scene is so ineptly directed. The tension is fucked. The first hit, that is shown.
Right. No tension.
There's no tension.
We don't even know anything about it.
We don't know anything
about it. We don't know
about
who Gotti is.
We don't know who Gotti is, and the scene is set up in such a pedestrian manner.
How about the music kicking off that scene?
The music kicking off that scene was "Smoke on the Water" by Deep Purple, and I saw some older heads in the crowd.
She had her hand
She
in
was
the air.
pumping her fist far too
She was like,
long.
"Now the movie's going to give me what I want."
I would have pulled her arm down.
We'll come back to the soundtrack, but on the ineptness level, this scene with the young Gotti boy is a doozy. Just out of the blue, the camera is like handheld, kind of following this kid on a little motorbike. Just like it is.
And he's zigzagging up
It
the
is
road.
clear, like from the first half a frame, how he's shooting it, that this kid is dead.
He's dead.
He is dead, man. Dead kid mopeding.
Yeah.
Like, and to build tension, you try to obfuscate that a little bit.
Yeah, you can't see
Connolly.
it coming. You can't see it coming.
The only way he decide. So how did he decide to build tension? Keep cutting back to what we know is going to happen, but don't give us what we know is going to happen. So he just keeps cutting back till you want to just go, enough already, enough already. Kill the kid. Let's.
And you know how he fails in the worst way with that sequence is the scene right after that. The family's at the hospital. And he has it framed, actually kind of like competently.
It's like a triple split.
You know that's his favorite shot.
Well, no, but like I feel like he blew it because he had this moment where he's showing Gotti, who's like around the corner from his family, like heading off the doctor first to get the bad news. Only thing in focus. And he gives him this moment where he's processing it, but you don't show him going to his family to break the bad news to them. That's the moment. The moment's him hearing the bad news, reacting to it, and then pulling his shit together to then go face his wife and kids and say.
He just put. Yeah.
But instead, they just cut. They just cut. Yeah,
Puts his fist in his mouth.
They show him do a fist
and then they
mouth.
cut to the next scene, and it's like, dude, you're doing this wrong.
It's like a patented Travolta about to cry, fist in the mouth move.
Because he didn't live in most of those scenes. He just flew over them. They were just little tidbits. He was so scared to dwell in a scene that he just kept going and going
the
and going and going.
Is you cannot prepare yourself. Any editors within the sound of my voice see this movie as a giant what not to do. It is fucked beyond all repair.
In the first newsreel footage they show, they cut to like a Google Images.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah.
I've never seen a photo of a guy like it was just searched on Google, dragged into the timeline.
I'm also going to at this point bring up the use of stock footage.
Oh my god.
Now we're not talking about newsreel footage from the time, which of course is the most fascinating part of it because you're actually seeing real shit happening.
Yeah.
But I'm talking about
shots of fireworks.
The fireworks at the
shot in their backyard.
At the 4th of July festival.
It's like the movie's aesthetic breaks into found footage just for their B-roll, but then breaks back into normal.
It is SD.
It is SD.
Yeah.
SD's nuts.
Yeah.
Like
there's a lot of B-roll.
The cops come and try to shut down Gotti's little impromptu street party. And he ends up, telling them to go fuck off.
This is America.
Forget about it.
And then the grand prize at the end of that scene is, look at these fireworks. These are the way I want them done. And then it cuts to these blurry SD shots of fireworks exploding. It's like the biggest...
Multiple
times. It's the biggest sad trombone of a losing the Price is Right moment that in recent memory. It is sad news. And then after that, it just becomes a joke. They cut to like a city skyline that's also in SD, and you're like, I can hear Connolly maybe saying, hey, it's 1985. They didn't have HD in 85.
Yeah.
Well, then shoot your own fucking skyline, bucko.
Yeah.
Like, come on.
They didn't have any money.
He never matches
whatever
whatever
money they had went to Travolta's suits and his wigs.
Even the color correction was off. Like
way off.
If there was a conversation on the street, one angle's green, the next angle's blue.
In the room with him and his son, the wide was timed so the wall was white, and then the coverage was timed so the walls were green.
Yeah.
I don't know if you noticed that.
It's got student feature painted all over it.
All over.
And there's like no audition scene.
Can we talk about the sun? Can we talk about the sun?
Let's talk about the sun.
I mean,
Big role. Big role.
So,
okay, does not work when the sun.
What do you got? What do you have to say?
Lucas sent me a clip. John Gotti Jr. Had say in the movie.
I believe it. That's why the sun's jacked.
That's why the sun's jacked and like
a model.
And like a model as compared to like the doughy kid we see at the end.
Yeah.
And you supposedly see this same actor play maybe from
like
13
to 30.
Put a little gray in the side of his hair.
He goes up to into his I don't know how old
anti-charisma.
But they put he looks exactly the same.
He plays
looks
like
young.
16, 17
pouting
to 45.
the entire time.
Right.
Like
and
Derek
then they
Zoolander.
put a little gray in his temples, and it is so bush league.
Yeah, that was bad.
Oh
that
my
was
God.
And his hair is plastered like
There was one shot where they were trying to convey that he went in and out of prison facilities.
Oh yeah,
and they had his hair super they had a wig
like a
in the shadows just for one shot,
so
just to show that they really put him through the ringer. You know?
Okay, the rubber's really going to hit the road now because it's not even good enough to have a salad dragon scene.
It's not.
It has
No. I was straining my eyes so hard.
It can be argued, but this movie.
I have like 10 salad dragons. But anyway,
I want to hear.
No, I have a salad dragon shot. This is how bad it was.
You guys, hold on. We'll get to all that, but officially, this is the first movie we've seen that has a Salad Dragon soundtrack.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
It does not let up. It is
I whispered to Lucas
amazing.
Oh my God.
When I slowly turned to Bishki, when we first got a taste of it, is Travolta, he's at his most charming at this point because he's smiling at guards and whatnot. But he's got all the guards in his pocket. He's incarcerated, but they let him go to see the dentist.
Yeah.
And while he's going to see the dentist, he can't help himself. He's got to pull a hit. What's the music that scores this? Why, it's the theme from Shaft.
Yeah.
So
that was incredible.
The theme from Shaft is playing. Everybody knows it, and I'm on the edge of my seat, not because of what's transpiring on screen, but because I'm wondering what's going to happen when they say, "Who's the black private dick who's a sex machine to all the chicks?" Well, we're looking at John Gotti. I'm like, how is that going to happen? So what happens?
It gets to that
right
point.
when it gets to the lyrics. And it's over. They just did a shaftendectomy, and there's no lyrics. And then I knew we were in Gonzo land.
Yeah.
We were fucked.
And I've my favorite when I whispered to LT.
What did it?
Was the Pet Shop Boys.
That's the official. That's the crown jewel of the Salad Dragon.
That was the Chris
soundtrack.
Mulkey hit scene.
Yeah.
That
was West End Girls, right? Yeah.
West End Girls.
They are approaching.
Go ahead.
They are approaching a car, and it's 1986 apparently, and out of nowhere,
that song,
that beautiful intro to West End Girls starts, and you're like, wait, what the fuck?
You're like, where's this going?
What is going on? Like,
just a couple jamokes exiting the restaurant.
You listening to like gay dance club.
You've never, and this is where I was the most saddened that Brother Ben and Brother Nathan, they would both lose their.
Yeah.
They would have stood in protest.
I wanted to look over at you guys a couple parts, but there was a couple between us.
There was that barefooted man between us.
Oh God.
But West End Girls, West End Girls starts pumping up, and then it's a car bomb.
The car explodes.
You've never, in a million years, will you ever see a combination of music and visuals like West End Girls with an exploding car hit. It shouldn't have happened.
It's not even like they're trying to do a Tarantino or a David Lynch move where they're like singing Roy Orbison or liming the coconut and chopping a dude's ear off. It's not like playing against
It's
the
like
grain.
they got a list of hits and they're like, West End Girls, whatever, that's the cheapest one, put it in.
It's got a good beat to it.
It's got a good beat to it. Oh my God.
And the next track that comes out, Walk Like an Egyptian.
Yeah.
When he's
out.
When he's out and he quote unquote walks
like an Egyptian
from court. He is found innocent. He walks like an Egyptian. That is the song that they choose to play.
Pretty bad. It's pretty bad.
What the fuck? Like, that is amazing. And then, when things start coming undone, should we say, we get an extended taste.
We get the full track of Come Undone.
Come Undone.
I'm pretty sure that was
And
the
it
full
is
track.
so, like, there's nothing more embarrassing than a director reaching for some kind of operatic height with a song like that, supposedly heightened to life and death levels, and having it miss so terrible.
And let's remind everyone, we don't care about any of these people.
We don't give a shit.
We don't know what they want to do other than he doesn't like cops. We know all the mafia tropes from all the other mafia movies we've seen, but we don't know anything about what these people want, what they're trying to do, what is...
There's no character
There's
development.
no development, there's no tension, it's just bullet points in a life. And it was set to like really expensive period, like obvious period song choices.
1979, when I got the Time Life Sounds of the 70s 1979 tape when I was a youth, the number one song on it was Heart of Glass.
And that's what plays.
That's what plays in the movie Gotti.
One of my favorite shots was like a salad dragon shot towards the end.
Yeah, let's break down these salad dragons.
It was a photo montage, and I think it was a photo, like a real life photo of John Gotti Jr. But one of his eyes had red eye, but they didn't correct it. Like they didn't fix it in Photoshop. They like took the scan and they just put it up on screen. And I'm like, he's got red eye in the photo, dude. Like, you don't have to keep it that authentic. Like that doesn't help us in the audience.
There's
like,
so much of that.
It just looks
it's
bad.
Just inept.
It just looks bad. Like, why include that photo? Because you have access to it?
You got Kelly Preston, who disappears from the movie for like maybe an hour.
She really got his wife? She's Gotti's wife?
She was Gotti's wife.
She gets one scene that... Okay,
that's a
I think I know where you're going.
When her son dies, you see... I mean, Travolta handles it pretty well with what he's given. Gotti Jr. is creeping around at night because he hears something, and you see Travolta shedding a solitary tear down by the TV in the living room.
And just for the record, Travolta lost a son much that same age.
He did.
So he's channeling real pain there.
So we move through that. We move through that, and then as a grief cherry on top, then we dive right back into it, and the mom gets to have her big breakdown scene. We've already dealt with it. And it doesn't figure into anything else at all, other than her saying, I buried one son, I'm not going to bury another one. But she gets her big emotional scene, and then she's out of the movie.
Well, and then he once he tells her to get her act together.
Right.
But he slaps her pills off the desk, and he says, he goes, wait, you got 4 other children to take care of. I'm going to make you some coffee. Cut, new scene, we forget about it.
She comes back like an hour later, he says, like, shut up. It's really poorly handled character.
Yeah.
But then she comes back in the courtroom later at the very
That's
end.
her.
And that's her second scene.
And that exposes that actress as someone who is incapable of handling the spotlight on her.
She can't do it.
Yeah.
And again, to Kelly Preston's, just to throw her a bone.
Sure.
She is given 0.
Nobody's given anything.
No one has any.
We got like a 90-year-old Stacy Keach. She's given nothing.
I mean,
but Stacy Keach still has gravitas.
Yeah, he still got gravitas.
But there's like no scenery to chew.
Except my favorite line. He goes, you got the 5 boroughs.
Yes.
You got the Bronx.
Yes.
You got Manhattan.
He's holding up his fingers.
He's listing all 5 boroughs.
And then he brings them together as a fist.
He says he's going to say the 5 boroughs, and then he lists them one after another. It was
I liked when he brought the fists together, though. Like that was a glimpse. That was a glimpse at just one little moment of a movie that could work.
That was a Lem Dobbs line, probably, because he
You got
wrote
Brooklyn. You got
after
the Bronx.
After Dark City, Lem Dobbs wrote this.
This is the real Dark City.
But how do you think Kevin Connolly became the director to make this film?
I feel dirty even thinking about it.
Yeah.
Like,
because that's something to
dirty money.
I feel cocaine's involved. I think he's coked up. He's doing coke with John Gotti's nephew or grandson.
See, to me, it's a lot simpler.
It just sounds like a coked up guy's idea.
What's your theorem?
This is my theorem. It's a lot less sexy than LT's theorem.
Okay.
I think what it is Travolta tried to get this movie made a number of different cast packages, a number of different directors, and he could not get a director with heat to get the budget they probably thought they needed to make the right version in their heads of this movie.
Right.
And then they just said, we just got to make it.
Yeah.
Connolly he's hungry to be behind the lens.
He loves the world.
Yeah. He wants to be Scorsese so bad that he just looked at this script and he probably on some level knew what it lacked, but he thought in his head, I
can make it up with Scorsese panache.
Yeah, this could be my gangster. And he probably went in and he pitched everyone. And I mean, I don't know why. What else has he made? What else has he directed?
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
I don't want to know.
Right. Well, so I just feel like, I mean, there's really no other director for this movie. I mean, and clearly everyone knew it was a stinker.
The vibe I got is Connolly's connected to the family and has their blessing, and he has access because, you know, like all the suits.
But it was
Travolta's wearing. I'm imagining those were like Gotti's real suits. You know?
Yeah, in the end, this is Gotti family approved. Let's just say that.
100%.
And
here's more EPs than you could count.
Here's why
very pro Gotti.
Here's why I love that Kevin Connolly directed this the way he did, and why I love that everything was exactly the way it was. There's a moment where Gotti's at one of his mini court appearances, and somebody says something that he finds amusing, and Travolta makes a face that looks exactly like Donald Trump. And I instantly was like, why are we dealing with Baldwin when Travolta could trump the shit out of Trump? So that planted a seed. And as we go on in the movie, we're seeing these old newsreel footage of people in the neighborhood getting interviewed when Gotti finally goes to trial and it looks bad. And everybody's like, you know, everybody does stuff wrong sometimes. You know, not everybody's a saint. He's getting railroaded. You know, people are out to get him.
He only killed one of his own. He never killed anyone
They're
innocent.
Future Trump supporters.
That's correct.
It's a mirroring of what's happening now. And the fact that Gotti's family was involved and that it is basically a pro-Gotti PSA by the end, and it failed so miserably, and at its core, it's such a piece of trash, makes it an accidental comment on the Trump presidency.
Yeah,
and
perfect for our time.
Wow, that's pretty interesting. Yeah.
I had nothing else to do during this movie other than think about that. To make a better movie, to make a more satirical movie in my mind, go all in making it a Gotti promotional pick.
Yeah.
Show the danger of this type of tough guy, thuggish propaganda. Yeah. They even show a picture of Gotti at the end where it's like, Gotti lives forever. And it looks like a picture of one of the Kims from North Korea.
The whole thing is very Trumpy, Manafort, as LT said.
You got Don Jr., you got the whole thing.
Don Jr. fits in this
It's
family.
amazing. Yeah. But the movie has no clue about any of that.
No, again, Kevin Connolly had zero take on the material and the life.
I mean,
he just said, let's just tell it.
To me, what's so fascinating about the Gotti character, figurehead, and as a director, an aspiring director myself, what I would have examined and like what I would have sold it as, or the hook to hang my hat on, is here's a guy who is like so extreme in his belief system, right? He's got these rules, right? He's telling his son, you got to follow the rules, you got to do this, you got to do that, blah, 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 blah. Yeah, we've seen it all before. However, what's so amazing, the anomaly, the paradox, is Gotti breaks the rules to kill his own boss to become the boss, right?
Exactly.
So, like, that's amazing. Like, so imagine setting up a movie where it's like, these are the rules, and all of a sudden, boom, he pulls this off. It could be like a mystery where it's like, well, how did this happen? How did this come to be? And then as an onion layer, you're peeling back, whether it's flashbacks, I don't know. But then eventually you realize, oh my God, it was him. You know, it was Gotti who did it.
That's great.
Even though we all kind of know the true story already.
LT has always got
his alternate version.
But that was like what I was. That's what I was like, man, this is so interesting. And you're right. They don't fucking get it. They don't know what they're doing. They don't know what they have. So yeah, he's murdering everyone from the start. He's talking about like not trusting anybody. And it's like, of course, it's like you
it's all presented in the most devoid of tension way possible.
Truly.
Yeah.
No,
when he hit his boss, that should have been like an edge of your seat nail biter. That is the climax of your movie. I am sorry, I don't care where it falls on the timeline. That is the climax. Should come at the very fucking end. That's
It
like
was just
the
one
beginning
in a
of Act
series
3.
of beats.
Yeah, no, it was just like boom. Okay.
presented matter of
And
factly.
then this happened. Oh, bada boom, bada bing. Hey.
Such a boring
It's
setup.
so boring the way it went down.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay,
I
yeah.
got to meet Nathan at Barnes and Noble. so-
Yeah. Poor man. He took such a hit for us.
Fuck.
We love you, brother Nathan.
I love you, brother Nathan.
Let's get to the bones. Bishki, what do you got?
Well, the scale I have, like, I knew it was gonna be bad, so
Okay.
so it was like how good bad is gonna be,
Right.
and then things started rising. The bone count started rising as the laugh started rising, as the
interesting.
salad dragon started rising, and the salad dragon soundtrack kept
Yes.
rising and rising, and it didn't rise to the heights of The Room or anything like that, but.
What are you gonna do here?
In my sliding,
What are you doing?
In my sliding scale of good bad
Don't say
movies,
more than one.
no, 2.5 bones.
No.
No way!
No.
That is not
That's
technically
a-
well
no.
made.
You guys,
That is not technically
He's saying
well
within
made.
context.
I'm saying within the context. I didn't say it was well made at all.
When
No.
did we introduce?
Hold on. Let me see. Let me break bread with you. You're
Yeah.
saying in the upside down world of the good bad movie.
Yes.
It's a 2.5 for a good
Well,
bad.
then you're gonna
Exactly.
need to
Yes.
deliver 2 bone counts.
No.
Because we never agreed on a sliding scale bone count. You can say your piece about how good bad it was, but to give it a full bone and a half more than Hereditary.
Oh,
Well,
wow.
no, I mean that it's different worlds. It's tough to compare movies like that, as Roger Ebert.
You're walking into different expectations.
because I would give The Room a 4 bones.
Okay.
In my world, fine.
Okay.
They had red eye in the photos.
No,
bro.
I'm not.
That's
I'm
what
not-
he's looking for. He's looking for the red eye.
That's exactly what I'm looking for.
But here's what I'm saying, because
Okay.
I'm with you on this.
Yeah.
There are movies that I love that are technically horrendous,
Yeah.
but
I'm saying in like
We
the
need-
acrimony world.
we need to be
Okay, fine.
consistent
Fine, I'll
on
be
this podcast.
Okay.
You need to be able to speak your piece.
I'll just say this. I enjoyed this more than Hereditary.
Wow.
I'll give it 2 bones.
Wow.
Okay.
Wow.
And that's incorporating everything. I need you to incorporate everything
Incorporating
with your bone. Okay.
everything, the joy that I got from this was a half bone high.
What a trickster. You're the resident bad boy now.
Yeah.
We got 2. We got 2 on our hands.
I don't trust you, Bishop. I just don't trust you.
Why can't you? Why don't we embrace these bad movies?
Bishki's more of a trickster god.
It is not
He's a
obviously
total
terrible.
trickster guy.
We can embrace it, but oh my god.
Can I
don't
just
know.
say I'm looking at the trivia for this movie, and apparently, as we speak, let me just read the trivia because it's actually written kind of beautifully.
What do you got?
So it says. Joe Pesci was originally cast as Angelo Rodrigo. So Angelo Rodrigo is Gotti's like brother, childhood best friend. He's played in the film by Pruitt Taylor Vince, who's kind of this creepy character actor with twitchy eyes.
Yeah.
Anyway, Pesci later filed a $3 million lawsuit against the producers claiming breach of contract. In the lawsuit, Pesci claims after he gained 30 pounds for the role of the overweight Rodrigo, he was instead offered a different role. The suit is still pending.
That is amazing. Wow. I love that.
What a different movie that would have been.
Thank you for that. Brother Zach, I'm imagining I'm not going to have to deal with any sliding scale bullshit.
No,
on
because,
you.
all right, I actually am enjoying the banter post-movie more than I
Sure.
was in the film
Of
itself.
course.
It's a hell of a ride to listen to you guys talk about the music and the insane choices.
Yeah.
It honestly was a little torturous for me for most
Sure.
of the film.
I leaned over to
wasn't-
Bitchki and I'm like, I guarantee Zach is in hell right now.
I was because it was like, again, I'm laughing just thinking about how bad it was
Yes.
now, but it wasn't enjoyably bad.
Sure.
And so therefore, I understand Bishki's point for him, The Room is a 4-bone experience.
We'll call it
for him.
Bitchki's paradox.
Yeah.
From here on
Bishki's
out.
paradox.
In our upside down
So,
world.
but even so, here's how I would frame my bones.
Frame them up.
I would never recommend to another lodge member to see this movie. I think if you have listened all the way through the podcast, you got it.
Yeah, you got it.
Maybe there's a sequence on YouTube to watch
Sure.
that'll help flavor, the podcast. That's all. That's real. Season it. That's
fair.
all you need.
That's fair.
You do not need to see this movie. It was torturous to sit through. It's hilarious to discuss. So therefore, I give it a 1 bone.
Oh, wow, that's generous. Bishki is very pleased by this.
Well, I'll tell you why it's a 1 bone.
Okay.
Real quick.
Yes.
It was not creatively shot, but it was not.
It was exposed.
Yeah, there were some shots that had some thought put into the lighting or the framing. I mean,
And Travolta gets a little credit.
Travolta was actually, honestly, there were a few points. And my last thing, the very last line, they give you then in this year this happened, then in this year this happened. And then Travolta turns around
Back
after
at the
most
bridge.
fucking boring Wikipedia movie, a biopic, and he turns around and says, in 5,000 years you never meet a guy like me. And I just wanted to say, what?
She gave her a bone of her
I
own.
mean, a more interesting guy like you every other movie I walk into, motherfucker. Anyway, so it's a 1 bone. It was, I know we're saying it's a student film, and the editing, the music choices, sure, but fuck it. I give it a zero. It's a woof. It's a woof.
Whoa.
It's a
Whoa.
woof. It's a woof. I don't know what I'm thinking. In my mind, I said one thing that was the lowest. It's a woof. It's
Zach,
a woof.
that is you're correct.
It is a woof.
That's the
There's
right.
nothing outside of this podcast for you to enjoy in the movie.
There we go. That feels better to me. I applaud that. Okay, Brother Lucas.
Yeah, I've been sitting here,
You've been a little reserved this
processing.
round.
I'm beaten. I mean, I felt bad that we lost 2 of our soldiers on the way
I
in.
felt so bad.
That shook me,
Yeah, it shook me.
and the people next to us were creeps, and I couldn't let it go.
Yeah.
Bad crowd.
And the movie was like just a fish, like a limp noodle, dead fish dropped on a table on a Tuesday night. Stinking up your house.
You were sleeping with it.
Like, it's just not moving. It's been dead a long time. Look, as a theatrical experience, as a movie, it's a woof. I got to go with Zach.
Okay.
However, if it was a Lifetime movie, if this was on TV,
Okay.
and it was still exactly the same way it is, except, they got rid of the fucks or they made it TV friendly.
Sure.
But it was still Travolta and Kelly Preston in the wigs.
Sure.
I would give it 1 bone just because they're channeling their dead son in those scenes with Gotti's dead son.
Wow.
But as a feature,
I think you're channeling that
man.
for them more than they were channeling it, I think.
Man, that
honestly.
was a wolf. That was a hard one to get through, and
Okay.
I'm sure Zach could attest to the number of times I was either
Either sighing or
Yeah.
laughing inappropriately.
There was a sliding scale. There are 2 things you should know. Lucas and I had hands over face.
Yes, I did too.
Moving
I did too.
higher and higher up the forehead, and then we made a bet, a gentleman's bet before the movie. Lucas turns to me and he says, "How many people walk out of the film?" I said, "Well, what do you got?" He says, 2. I said, "Well, knowing where we are, we're not like at the Lemley, where I would guess higher." I said, "Still, I'm going to go with 4." I think we had 3. Was it 3 walkout?
there might have been 3.
I didn't see anybody walk out.
3
You guys are
walk out.
crazy.
Maybe they came back
The
from the bathroom,
recliners
but
make people just sit.
There was an older gentleman who was having bathroom issues, I think, but he ended
All
up
right.
coming back. I am going to bestow this movie, the Roger Ebert Memorial, half a bone, because and only because of John Travolta's charm and his smile. And
he still does have.
He does
talent.
have it,
You're
and-
right. It's
and I
sad
want
that
just-
no one hires him.
I feel like he needs to find the material, or the material needs to find him.
Correct.
He needs another Tarantino to bring him back again.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I think he's got one more.
He's got one
He's got
more.
one more
He's
round.
got one
He's
more.
got one more round. I believe in him, and I want him to succeed.
in the name of Xenu.
I bet you money.
In the name of Xenu,
I bet you money.
he has one more.
Travolta's last final big hit, he'll play like a dance choreographer.
I hope so.
It'll be like a dance.
That's-
It'll be like a drama. It'll be like Black Swan, except he's like
10 years from now.
He's
Yes.
the mentor.
15
he's the teacher.
years from now.
Yeah,
Let's make it
yeah.
happen. Maybe we make that movie.
I like it.
Seriously, where he's haunted by like literal
Large
demons.
Ventures. Here we go.
That was Gotti, y'all.
Got him.
Salad Dragon Productions.
God. Hey.
Hey, bada boom,
Yeah,
bada
I
bang.
just want to say my final sign off. The reason why I give the movie a wolf instead of a 1 bone is because I was so like disgusted with how sympathetic and like how
It's
much
bad.
lavish and attention and honor they give to John Gotti,
It's bad.
and they
It's
the
toxic.
nail in the coffin that they like the Kevin Connolly sign off with the epilogue. text is literally implying that the people who sent Gotti away were worse than he was.
Yeah, it's
because they were gross, unreliable murderers back on the streets. So have a nice night.
Witch hunt.
It was
It's
like
a witch hunt.
such
That's
a
right.
fucking gross, like skirting responsibility. Like, oh, it made me ill. Like to me, Kevin Connolly is just as evil as John Gotti.
And the
was.
woman next to me was reading that, and she kind of gave a
She
like-
said, "No, I didn't know he died at 61."
Yeah, it was disgusting. Mwah.
You fucking scumbag, you
And that's a Bolognese.
Brother Ben and Brother Nathan, we love you so much.
We missed you.
We missed you.
Mwah.
dodged a bullet. What can I say?
You dodged several
Come
bullets.
on.
We'll be back in Sbarro. Mwah.
Love and light to the lodge.
Love and light. Love and light. Mwah.
I wouldn't fuck her with your dick.